Yesterday I was out and it started raining, and when it rains most people head for shelter or they bring out their umbrella, and I had neither. I was pretty much in a field and I just kind of just rode in the rain, and I was like, this sucks. And then I started to think about this saying. It just sort of crossed my mind. Well, not a saying, but when I was younger, I used to watch this person. I still do every now and then, and they were talking about embracing the rain, but it wasn't in the sense of in the actual rain. It was actually about when things get tough. That's not your time to quit. That's your time to sort of hunker down and just try and power through that bad part. I was again like in a kind of like a field. It's a park, and there are paths, and people walk on these paths. Now I'm on my bike, and when people are walking around, I have to avoid people, you know. But when it was raining, no one was there. I could just ride my bike freely, and it kind of got me thinking about how a lot of people don't bear the rain, because when things get hard, that's when people tend to quit. And I think I'm coming into a part right now where things are getting hard for me in a certain way, and I feel like I need to power through certain things, and hopefully I'll come out the other side, better or smarter than I was when I went in. It's a strange feeling for me because when I was a kid, I would quit almost straight away. Like as soon as there was a little bit of traction, I'd quit. And now that I'm working through that traction, which is already hard enough for me because I was never really trained to do those things, to work against the traction, but I've kind of got used to it now. And now I'm coming to like one of my first like hurdles, like my real first hurdle, I believe. And I'm glad that I've taught myself like not to quit now. But it sucks because sometimes it feels like I'm running this marathon, and I've got to my wall, right? My big first, obstacle, if you will. That's quite hard. And I'm really trying to break through that wall. I'm just struggling to do so. And I'm not quitting. I'm still in the race. But it is really hard to get through this first big hurdle of mine. I think it's the first time in a long time where I'm a bit stumped. I really kind of don't know how to get through this wall. I just kind of don't know what to do. Anyway, kids, that's where I'm at. One of my first hurdles. I really feel like this is my first really big one. Yes, I've jumped hurdles before, but this one seems really big. Like a really big one. Anyway, if you're coming across a hurdle right now or a challenge and you're really stumped, not that I have a clue what that is or what I could, but I think the best thing to do is to step back and try and analyze it from a different perspective. Trying to ask someone for a different view. They may not give you the answer, but they may give you the viewpoint that will allow you to get the answer. Which I've always stuck by. I always ask people's opinions on things, and it's not necessarily for their opinion, but more to let them show me a different viewpoint so I can kind of look at it from their lens and think in the way they think, and hopefully I can come up with a better solution. Sometimes someone will give you the answer right there and then, and it's like crazy lucky. But normally if it's a big hurdle and it's a big problem, there's probably not going to be a simple answer. Sometimes there is, and you will hopefully be lucky enough to have friends and people around you that will give you those solutions. Anyway, when things get tough, when the rain comes down, bear it, because it's important. I really believe that it is important.